Hi friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel, and this is your daily news fix. So, question, which poses the biggest threat? Aliens, AI, or inflation? That's the question today, and let's jump right in. So this is a real headline, guys. Pentagon unveils UFO reporting portal for service members, government, and workers. So the basic gist of it is that if you're in the military or you work for the government and you see a flying saucer, aliens, or otherwise, it'll be easier to report that. I think actually this is fascinating. My personal opinion on this stuff is I don't think it's impossible that aliens exist, right? I don't think it's impossible. The question always is, are they too far away to they actually can get here? If they do, in fact, can get here, would they have advanced technology? Probably they would. And then the other question would be, if the government actually did know about said thing, would they share it with the public? My feeling would be probably not. I saw the movie Contact. I did not read the book, but for those of you who are familiar with the book or the movie, it's a fascinating look at sort of these social ramifications of discovering, alien life / intelligent life. There are lots of movies on this subject, but this kind of thing is interesting. It's been in our conversation for a long time, and evidently the government is spending money on it. So we'll see what happens with that. And if you see anything, please report it, I guess. At the moment, though, governments are also concerned about AI. This is true story. They're in the UK. This is multiple countries. It is 28 governments, how they state it. And I'll read the headline here. Global leaders warn AI could cause catastrophic harm, is sort of how they phrase it. There was an interesting article a couple weeks ago regarding Tom Hanks, and he was upset, which rightfully so, that I think it was a dental company was using his image for an advertisement, right? And now Scarlett Johansson is actually, and this is, you guys probably know her from Avengers, plays Black Widow, but she's in a lot of movies. She plays an AI in a movie, which is really great, called Her, which you haven't seen the movie, fantastic movie. But anyway, she is suing a company for using her, I think they were using her voice. It's like a 22-second ad and her likeness. Again, and I think that's well within her right to sue. This is kind of the new world that we live in now, right? Moreover, I've mentioned to you guys before several times, there is a Netflix show called Black Mirror. Their first episode this season was fantastic. It addresses this issue. I don't want to give any spoilers, but just check out Black Mirror. I think the episode was called Jane, something like that. But this is the kind of stuff that we have to deal with, and it's funny because I was thinking about this also. Say on Instagram or whatever, there was a new app recently where you put your picture in there and then it gives you like 90s style high school kind of photos. And I saw a lot of people were doing that. And it's funny because, yes, it's fun, but people don't realize like, hey, you're giving these companies your data for free, and you're signing, whatever contracts you're signing by just hitting the agree button to, possibly use your likeness. Like you're giving up your rights perhaps. So watch that Netflix episode if you haven't seen it. In this situation, this is a big issue with, say, the actors or writers, etc. Is name, likeness, this kind of stuff. We come up with these issues in college football, if you guys have been following that, or NCAA, I should say. So I think it's all sports. But this is a real fascinating thing if she wins. She also was in a lawsuit before. I remember was the basic gist of it was when her Black Widow movie came out. Disney also released it on streaming, and she was making the case that, hey, you can't do that. You're hurting my box office numbers, right? So, whoever her lawyer is we'll say litigious. I'm not saying necessarily in a bad way, because I don't want to give the impression that all lawsuits are without merit. Because certainly, there's sometimes you got to protect yourself, right, legally. And so let's see what happens with this one. I think it's an interesting one. Biden evidently, this was yesterday, and I know there's so much news coming out all the time, and I know we could talk about the war every day, and we will sometimes, but not every single day. We'll talk about, but Biden evidently signed an executive order regarding AI and safety, and it was interesting because this sort of coincides with the summit that I mentioned before in UK, where everyone's meeting, and I want to address sort of like what they're kind of talking about, and we'll go through it together. It says here, in the context of our cooperation, and when we talk about cooperation, it is actually 28 countries. I think they use the word government is a better way to say it, but you can see the list here. But let's read what they're talking about. So it says, in the context of our cooperation and to inform action at the national and international levels, our agenda for addressing frontier AI will focus on, and these are the two things, identify AI safety risks. Okay, so that's what they're talking about, is the robots going to take over the world and that kind of stuff. Building a shared scientific and evidence-based understanding of the risks, right? So we're just worried about, what's this stuff going to do in the future? And sustaining that understanding as capabilities continue to increase in the context of a wider global approach to understanding the impact of AI in our societies. And for those of you who are old enough, you guys may know I'm pushing 50. I grew up with the movie War Games. And if you don't know what that movie is, it's an old Matthew Broderick movie. And the basic idea is like, if we give the robot/AI control of our nuclear arsenal, is that a good idea? Probably not, right? You guys know this, and the same with the Terminator movies. And we had a lot more fears in movies about this kind of issue. But I guess these AI fear movies have been around for a long time, not just War Games or Terminator, etc. But safety risks. Here's the other part of the agreement they're talking about here is building respective risks policies across our countries, right? So first assess it, and then like what kind of policies you're going to have. Could be any number of things to ensure safety in light of such risks, collaborating as appropriate, while recognizing our approaches may be differ based on national circumstances and applicable legal frameworks. This includes alongside increased transparency by private actors, that would be companies, etc., developing frontier AI capabilities, appropriate evaluation metrics, and tools for safety testing, and developing relevant public sector capable of scientific capability and scientific research. So if you're a young kid out there looking at something to major in, I think majoring in programming these things, making AI stuff, algorithms, etc., I think this would probably be a pretty bright field. There's going to be money in it if you want a job. And I think it's interesting too. It's not just, not everything's just about money, but I think this is an interesting, fascinating field. And these are the different countries that were there. So it looks like all the major ones. I can read the list real quick. Australia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, China, the EU, right, European Union, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, Kenya, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Netherlands, Nigeria, Philippines, Republic of Korea, or basically Korea, that's where we are, Rwanda, Singapore, Spain, Switzerland, Turkey, and if you don't know, they changed their name. I don't remember where they did that, but they changed it. I think it's Turkey is how we're supposed to say it, but you can correct me if I'm wrong there. Ukraine, the United Arab Emirates, and then the UK, Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and the United States of America. And it was interesting is I was just talking out loud with you. Theoretically, you could put Taiwan on this list, but China wouldn't like that you listed Taiwan. Because, make no mistake, Taiwan plays a big role in this stuff, right? They have a lot of chips over there and that kind of stuff. And certainly, other countries will probably, enter in this stuff if they want to make good favor with the bigger countries. But I think this is actually interesting things that the governments are actually taking action on this kind of stuff. Also, I wanted to address a comment regarding real estate. And this is coming from Tony Kasunik. And Tony, I actually really appreciate your comment. So let's go through it together. And this is about real estate brokers and the big lawsuit that we addressed yesterday. Last a couple days. But anyway, he says, I'm a real estate broker. Chris, you have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe you should actually look at both sides of the story. And while I usually agree with your viewpoints, discussing something you have no clue about and painting all agents with a negative brush is lazy reporting at best. So, Tony, I actually really appreciate that. That's why we're talking about it. And I just want to make it really clear. If you guys ever have comments and you have more inside information about certain things, please share. We have a very smart community, and I think it's important to share and have discussion because I want to be clear. There are multiple viewpoints on different topics. I share mine and also want to introduce what I think is our important topics. So this all has to do with the brokerage fee thing, or not brokerage fee, I should say the real estate agent fees and how that is done. And I gave the indication with the current system in place that buying agents on the buying side may not necessarily show you all the houses best for your, how can I say, in your interest, because they'd be looking more for fees. But to be fair, and also talking to Tony, yes, it is perfectly legitimate case that not every agent out there will do shady practices or do shady things. And then that could be for any profession at all, right? Maybe some professions, have shady people, but doesn't mean every profession is shady people. And in fact, you could argue every profession out there has shady people in it. So you're correct, Tony, not everyone would be shady. So I really, really appreciate that. However, I also want to mention, this is an important thing. I completely understand too that this would be a very, very sensitive topic because the lawsuit, and we're talking about the national real estate thing, and you just watch my videos on the past in this, but there could be major changes coming for brokers. And actually, I want to read through a couple of these things. And Tony, please chime in. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. This is coming from Barron's, and they just went through. Okay, so the jury said the national was it agent of realtors or National Association of Realtors is liable for damages. It was 1.8 billion. It could go up to 5.4 or something like that. Because it'll be triple essentially. It could go really high, and you may see major changes in the real estate market, as I mentioned. And also too, I mentioned as well. I think the age of the internet may cost people jobs, and I'm trying to say it real politely and kindly, because I really understand, because anyone out there who is in a profession where you're concerned that your profession will change due to just market changes or technology changes like that. It's a very sensitive topic. So Tony, again, I just wanted to emphasize that I'm not purposely trying to be a jerk. if you understand my point of view on that. So, and again, I appreciate you watching the channel and I appreciate your comment. So let's read through this, and I want to hear people's thoughts on this. Okay, winners and losers. This is regarding the ruling. For prospective buyers and homeowners, the commission paid by sellers to buyers agents could decline or shift to buyers. Okay, so this is just again coming from buyers at their point of view. Changes to these rules or elimination of these rules will significantly increase transparency for consumers around the real estate agent compensation. So this is coming from an analyst named Ryan Tomasello, right? Again, this is just different people's opinions. And it also says here, the change would allow buyers to negotiate fees with agents or negotiate with sellers to pay their broker's fee. It's really fascinating because we're just talking about like how much our fee is going to be and like who's going to set the prices is kind of what's going on here. Moreover, let's just read some more of this. The most likely outcome from the case is a ban on a rule requiring sellers listing on the MLS. So that's like the system where all of the listings are. And most people in real estate, most people outside of real estate wouldn't necessarily know what the system is, but everyone in real estate would know this stuff. To make an offer to compensate buyers agents. So again, how the current system works is that the seller essentially will sort of set the rate of commission to attract buyers to come in. And if Tony, you have a different point of view in that, please share your point of view. I do appreciate that. Here's a more over here. It says BTID analyst Soham Bonzo wrote in a note. It changed that, but doesn't change much. So this person's saying it doesn't change much. Sellers could take the chance on not offering compensation, right? So you would lower the compensation for the buying agent and letting the free market / portals do the work for them. But we think their agents will continue to advise them to offer a buyer's agent commission. So this is really the interesting thing is like, it'll probably affect the buying agent more, chances are, just as I read through the stuff. And again, I want to get your thoughts on this, guys, as well. The typical seller in the U.S. paid a 5.5% commission. I think the higher is more like 6%, but it's still pretty significant amounts of commissions we're talking about here. According to 2019 brokerage report, citing data of 32 countries. And then this is also interesting. Of the countries evaluated, the U.S. had the third highest fees. So America is actually really, really high in comparison to other countries in terms of like how much real estate agents get. According to a report, which know that buyers in other countries forgo buyer's agent or pay the agent directly. In Korea, there are different ways you structure these things. Sometimes you just pay them a flat fee. Sometimes it's a percentage. So this depends what you're doing. I don't purport to know every single thing about the Korean real estate market. So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it is different. It is definitely different than the U.S. market. And it's the same way in the U.S. market, right? Different cities or different agents could be different. So it's a big market. But I would say this is probably true, this data. I don't think they're making stuff up, that the U.S. would have higher fees. I wouldn't be shocked there. Moreover, commissions might not fall as much as one would expect. So this is coming from another person. There's a lot of points of view on this. This is from RBC. Brad Erickson wrote in a Tuesday report. In RBC's own discussion with agents who are subject to what the firm described as higher transparency requirements, we found agent commissions fell 15 and 25 basis points over the course of 4 years. So presumably, if this goes through without a contestation, meaning like no one fights it, the impact would be likely be greater, but unclear by how much. Our view is it's slightly more, not significantly more, right? And then he's saying here, KBW analysts expect a bigger cut. Commission rates could fall by 200 basis points or more. So again, you're getting a multiple point of views in the air. So is it going to fall by like a little bit? Is it going to fall by a lot? Are you looking at like a quarter percent change in, commissions, or are you looking at like a 2% change in commissions? And for people in this industry, obviously this would be a very, very sensitive topic. And I want to make this also really clear. And again, this is to you, Tony, and I appreciate your comment, is this is just real. If you indeed do provide value, and I did look you up, I know you're in the Pacific Northwest. I do read. I read everything, trust me. And people seem to like you, so that's great. And I read it, seriously. But the basic gist of it is, if you do provide value to your clients, and this is for any profession out there, yes, you will earn your weight and your weight, right? You will get your commissions, and people will continue to give you business. I think the issue is going to be is like if across the board commissions go down, some people may not see it in the profession, and I think this is part of what they're saying here. We'll go through it. It says a change in commission rules could reduce the number of real estate agents. Agent pay will be reduced, and an unknown number of agents will leave the industry. So this is according to Gordon Haskett Research Advisors. Again, we're getting a lot of different opinions on this. There are roughly 1.6 million members of the National Association of Realtors. Newer agents will be most impacted, as they tend to start on the buy side. That's interesting. And in fact, that is interesting. Newer agents start on the buy side. On the selling side, it's always hard to get clients, right? Because essentially this is a real thing. In LA, people actually will come and knock on your door and be like, "Hey, do you want to sell your house?" People will do that. And then if they're not doing that, it's often done by a referral, right? So it's hard if you're a new agent to be on the seller side of things. So that's interesting. I could see that. And here's more. So many opinions on this. What might not change is the cost of a home. And this is according to someone over at Wharton at Penn. That's where I went to school. Sellers, this is a professor, sellers are charging what the market will bear. That means sellers would pocket a large portion of the sales price if total fees were reduced, but buyers shouldn't expect a discount. So basically, what she's saying is that this is just real. When you have a price of a house, right, it's going to sell for whatever people are willing to pay for it. But essentially, if you cut out, say, the buyer's agent's commission, then maybe the person who's selling the home would actually get a larger fee, a larger chunk of that. That's how I read that. And I think that's a really fascinating topic. So again, we went through a lot with the real estate thing. If you guys have any opinions on this, please share. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, too, I mentioned before, is it AI, aliens, or inflation? Well, evidently the Fed doesn't think inflation is too bad. They didn't change anything, so there's no news there. The interest rates are what they were. They're going to stay there. But it is at a 22-year high, and the only real thing that they said is that they're sort of imply that they may raise it one more time by the end of the year. So keep an eye on that, and we'll see. Moreover, I think inflation, though, is going to be tough to solve because workers want to get paid more, which increase costs for companies, et cetera, right? You guys get the whole gist of it. Toyota is actually giving a pay raise 9%. And I wondered about this. I wondered if it's going to happen at Tesla, too. And that'll affect a lot of those sort of, Tesla, pumpers, because they're saying, oh, Tesla's going to be awesome and profitable forever. But if you got to pay your workers, an extra 9%, it certainly affects the bottom line 100%. And it was interesting because there was a fascinating headline here. I'll read it to you guys. The economy is great. Why are Americans in such a rotten mood? And here's the basic gist of it, and it makes perfect sense. So the article is making the case that financially that a lot of people are doing great. Maybe you're doing great. But like, why do we feel irritated all the time? Because prices are going up. Even if our salaries are going up, the prices are going up. And to give you an example, like we went to dinner out last night, and you're like, oh, they raised the price by $1. Like it's not, earth-shattering money, but hey, I mean, you get my point. But it's like you just feel like it's all the time. It's like, oh, now they want even more money, right? And it adds up over time. And to be fair, when you raise something by $1, and if something say like $10 or whatever, that's like 10%. So it's we can afford it, but we don't like to pay more money. I'm sure you guys get what I'm saying. And so we change restaurants that we go to. We're like, well, we could have went to this one, but this other one didn't raise prices yet, so we go to the cheaper one. And assuming that they're equal quality, which, there's always choices of restaurants. So anyway, I would totally agree with this, even though, yes, maybe we all can pay the higher prices that we see these days. And also, too, to be fair, maybe some people can. But regardless, no one likes when the prices go up. Nobody likes that. It's no fun. Moreover, talking about inflation, the Fed, and the market and stuff like that. This was an interesting one. Solar Edge, and I don't even know what this company is, to be honest, but their shares went down 24%. And basically, the reason why I mentioned this is that a lot of these sort of bubbly stocks, bubbly companies are slowly draining cash, and the money's, bleeding out of the market. And I was looking at the solar one. I was thinking about Enphase. This was a real hot stock. And in fact, if you traded it, you did fantastic, right? I mean, if you're trading it, but if you, held on at the peak and then just watching your money disintegrate, not so fun. And I understand that. I completely understand that. But, it's not that these companies don't make money. In fact, Enphase is profitable. They do make some money. But, the thing is that they were just way overhyped. Plus, you had a lot of, the stimulus check money and sets coming into the market at 0%. And, and this is just a real thing when you can offer customers deals and stuff like that, or you can sell stuff at a loss and just any number of things, 0% financing. And, these companies, a lot of these bubbles will drain. Another one, which you don't really talk about as much, is PayPal. I didn't realize this, but the stock has completely collapsed. This is in the last 5 years. I didn't realize it. I guess the peak was in 2022 because we never talk about it on the channel. So I wasn't paying attention. That's my bad. I should have been short PayPal. So next time, remind me, guys, go short PayPal. That would have been the best trade of the year for sure. Moreover, it's actually really funny talking about our bubbly market and stuff like that. There was this interesting article that I read, and I think this article might have been paid for. Sometimes you'll see this in publications, but just read the headlines. It says, U.S. media veterans back a new trading firm with financial news arm. It's hilarious. This is their strategy. So they're going to use public data, right? They're going to use public data. It says there's going to be a financial journalist, and they're going to also have like a trader person. There's going to be two sides. And basically what they're going to do, I'll read it. A trading fund and a group of analysts and journalists producing stories based on publicly available material, right? And then here's what it is. The fund would place trades before articles are published and then publish in research and trading thesis. So essentially what it is they are trying to raise money to where they're going to, hey, we're going to have this new news publication. We're going to make trades before we write articles, and then we're going to publish articles after we've made said purchases. It's like, they're like publicly announcing they're going to be doing pump and dumps is what it sounds like to me. It's so ridiculous, but it is what it is. So anyway, that's your daily news. I had to share this one. I thought it was kind of funny. I'd love to hear your thoughts on any one of these stories. And again, I do appreciate comments, and Tony, do it. Seriously, I appreciate your thoughts on this. And I encourage you to continue to share your thoughts, and anyone out there on any of these topics, because I know we talk about really complex topics, and I encourage to have a community with meaningful and intelligent discussions. So thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next video.